Right, welcome to another video. This one's going to focus specifically on Gen 5s. I'm going to do a series of videos on this, so this was just going to look through my Gen 5s and bits and pieces upgrades that I recommend. I am going to do a video on full assembly and disassembly as well. So we'll get started. This one is probably my favourite. It is a mafioso steel slide and barrel set. It's one of the first ones that came out, so it wasn't perfect. I'll show you in a sec here. The blowback unit, when I first installed it, didn't fit. It took a fair amount of grinding out and modification to both the blowback unit and the slide to be able to get the blowback unit to fit in. Now it, as you can see, works flawlessly, but it was fractions of a millimeter too tight, which messed with everything. The barrel is such a tight fit that you can't actually get it out without removing the whole blowback unit, which I don't actually mind. I've had a few steel and aftermarket barrels and slides that are like that. It's annoying, but it means that there's very little wobble in the slide set. This is the hop unit. So personally, I've got stainless steel 9-ball power barrel, and I've got 9-ball hop rubber, and then a Hadron fang plate. It all seems to do the job well. Can't complain. There are cheaper hop rubbers out there that do exactly the same job, so I only have this one because I had a load of them spare from days gone by. To disassemble this, and I'll have another video where I go into this in detail, but to disassemble this, you take out this screw and then this third screw, and it all flips in half. It's quite easy to take apart and quite easy to put back together. The hop arm is a better design than the Gen 3s. The hop unit itself is near identical to the Glock 19s, so if you are unable to find a replacement hop unit, you can use a stock Glock 19 hop unit. However, bearing in mind you probably can't go the other way around, so lots of the Glock 19 barrels are captive to the hop unit, so you in a Glock 19, this section here is removable, so obviously with this not being removable, you won't be able to put this in a Glock 19. I've tried, doesn't work. Probably works on a Gen 4 though. Recoil rod from the mafioso, so this is a full steel reinforced recoil rod. It's quite a thick recoil rod. I think it's about 200% spring. It's quite hefty, so not so great in winter, but great fun to use in summer. I've paired it with the JDG magwell and a knockoff Holosun. The sights are WeTech. I highly recommend WeTech. Everything I've bought from them has been spot on, and on one occasion where it wasn't spot on, they've made it good. And they, long story short, was they had a manufacturing problem with one of their barrels. I think I just got a bad something that fell through the QC basically, and they went and restarted up the production line and remanufactured me a slide because they didn't have any spare. So can't really fault them on that. They kept me up to date. They're really good. They're inexpensive for what they are. I think these high sights are very clean. Okay, we'll go on to this one, which is a detonator bore sight solutions. It's even got a little piggy on the barrel. It's quite cute. Fluted outer barrel, These are running Pro Arms tritium sights. I don't know if I'll be able to, probably won't because of the light, but okay, no point in trying. The tritium sights I find are really good. They're not particularly cheap, but they do the job very well. They work in the dark very well. I think they're about £70 a set, so they're definitely not the cheapest option. The WeTech ones were like £12 a set, so it's quite a big price difference. Okay. This is the Cow recoil rod. I really rate these. I bought one on a whim, and they're fantastic. I think they're 120% recoil strength, which seems to be about the sort of sweet spot for these Glock 17s in our climate in the UK. When it gets really cold, it's just about fine, it will cycle, whereas I found with the 200% spring in the Mafioso, it's just too strong, it gases out all the time. The interesting thing with these slide kits from Detonator is they have this little spring here, and it helps stabilize the outer barrel against the inner barrel. It does effectively what Guns Modified did with their barrel stabilizers, the little springs that sat inside the barrel. So it's quite a good idea. Seems to work. The next upgrade I've done, I put these in nearly all of my pistols, is these TTI Gen 5 hop units. They are TDC, they're monolithic, they're very good. Very, very, very good. I can't fault them. They are extremely tight on the front rail, on the forward frame, sorry. So you might have to do some filing. On a couple of them I've had to file down the forward frame to get it to fit, especially when you're trying to get it to fit with Garda. But again, they're very good. I'm getting some fantastic results out of these. So well, in fact, that I've put them in everything, even in my Gen 3s and Gen 4s. And that goes back in. Try and do this without pinching a finger. There you go. The only criticism I would make of the Detonator slides is you have to take the steel plate out of the stock slide, out of your polymer slide, and screw it in place. Now, the screw is so thin that if you Loctite it as they recommend, it snaps when you try and remove it, and that's what I've done there. Is I've tried to remove it one time and it snapped, so I've had to super glue the plate in place, which is a more permanent solution. It does the job, it's not come loose so far. So that's what I'm probably going to do going forward with all of these, is just super glue them in place instead of wasting time on a screw that snaps. To get it out, you just use a blowtorch. This is using an Angry Gun RMR plate. They're all pretty much the same, to be honest. The only difference is maybe the 5KU one I found was a little bit lazy. The Angry Gun and the various other ones, in fact, I've told a lie there. So this is the 5KU one. So if you see, it doesn't go all the way up there, and it doesn't meet all the way back there. So this is the lazy one. It's a flat plate. It's not really machined to fit an RMR. However, if I show you this one, which is an Angry Gun one, as you see, they've machined it to match the curvature of the slide and machined it to sit nicely around the RMR. So I would say Angry Gun, great. Nothing wrong with the 5KU one other than it's a little bit aesthetically boring. They could have done a better job, but obviously they're cheap, aren't they? So that's what you get. I'll talk about this one. So this is a WeTech pistol It's WeTech are a little Hong Kong company. They started doing some really good Gen 5 kit. They were the first ones to do a steel threaded outer barrel, which is what this has got. So if I get the right screw, so they've done a really nice steel threaded outer barrel that's even fluted. It's really quite good. It's, again, it was an early model, so it's not perfect. I've had to polish off these runners here so that it fits in the barrel properly. Another design problem that you will find with these is they got these steel rails that run here, which are a nice idea. However, as you can see there, the screws are prone to snapping. So again, they look to be exactly the same spec screws as what were used in the detonator. And as a result, when you try and remove them with a little bit of Loctite, they snap. So it is what it is. Again, held in place with super glue, seems to be doing the job so far. The thread on these is 13.5mm counterclockwise, which is a little bit problematic because what it means is you have to buy the 13.5mm compensators they've made and the like thread protector and all that sort of thing that goes with it. You can put a 14mm tracer on it, but you just got to be a little bit careful because you might thread the tracer. So yeah, that's this has got tritium sights as well, tritium high sights from Pro Arms. This has been done in Elite Black, I think. It's the Cerakote Elite Series Black that they do, so it looks very grey, but it's by far the most robust paintwork I've ever seen. Yeah, it's very good. This is another detonator slide, tritium high sights. I've robbed a steel barrel from the WeTech kit. It's using, these are WeTech steel aluminium kits that you can buy for the recoil rod. They're pretty good. They're not expensive. I think it costs you about 20 quid to build them. I'm using stock springs on it because they're good enough. I wouldn't recommend the 200% springs that WeTech do, as they're just too strong for this weather. They're absolutely fine if you live in Hong Kong where the weather's hot all the time, but when you're in the UK and the weather goes below double digits, it is problematic. This is a work in progress. It is mostly stock. Well, maybe that's a fib. So it's got DCI guns, high sights from Japan. It's got an acro on it, and interestingly enough, despite the weight of the acro, it doesn't seem to struggle to shift the slide. It's got a detonator threaded outer barrel that's 14mm counterclockwise. It has, if I can get my hands there, another cow recoil rod. Oh, that's stuck. There you go. got caught on something. This cow recoil rod, again 120% spring, I think. This is the detonator threaded outer barrel. Again, has the spring, TTI hop unit. In all of my pistols, I put the cow enhanced piston lid. Works very well. I also use the nozzle springs from cow. So, in terms of I get asked this question a lot actually, so I might as well go through it. I get asked a lot, what are the necessary upgrades for the Gen 5, for the Marui Gen 5? And I've tried most stuff out there. I've tried almost all of the products out there on the market at the moment. At the time of filming this, the Garda Gen 5 stuff had just come out, and I've not had a chance to buy that yet. But yeah, so I think in terms of essential upgrades, you've basically got 3 upgrades that actually, let's make it 4. There's 4 upgrades that I think are absolutely necessary. So I would say the TTI hop unit, absolutely a necessity. Oops, trying to do this without pinching my fingers. So TTI hop unit, cow or Garda piston lid, cow or Pro Arms upgraded nozzle spring. Try and go for the highest one you can. I think they do them in 150% and 200%. I've gone for 200% and they work great. So that's 3 upgrades, and the 4th one, which you won't be able to see much here, and you can see the little hint of it there, is the upgraded hammer spring set. So get either the cow, the Pro Arms, or the Garda hammer spring and install it, because it will make a world of difference when you're using green gas in the summer. In the winter, you won't notice any difference, but in the summer, it will prevent you light striking. Okay, we'll call it a day there for now. The next video I'm going to do is a full disassembly and reassembly of the Gen 5. So I'll do the top slide. I'll do a stock hop unit. I won't do one of these there. They got a good instruction manual for how to do them, so you don't need me to tell you how to do that. So upper and lower, how to get the slide apart. There's a knack to it if you've never taken apart a Marui stock slide before. So yeah. Things to be wary of in the future. Garda have announced a lightweight blowback unit. I think that will be worth its weight in gold. They're doing replacement internal parts. They've got almost a complete replacement lower. The last thing we're waiting for is these frames. So I reckon probably by this time next year, you'll be able to buy all the parts from Garda to be able to make a aftermarket Gen 5. And if that happens, then all of a sudden this supply and demand issue is not so much of a supply and demand issue. So yeah.